I was fascinated by the program, and I have a lot of my friends who are in Silicon Valley going through this who don't have the losses.
Tom, what would you say your biggest frustration's been with, selling and deferring capital gains tax, whether on the exit of businesses or real estate, or even with the 1031 exchange?
Well, before that, I haven't finished my story because I stayed in venture capital only for about 3 years because I was actually an entrepreneur at heart. So I wanted to start companies. So then in the next 10 to 15 years, I had a total of 6 companies I started. And one of them I'm extremely proud of is people always think that, okay, I'm a slide rule head. So I probably started some technology companies, but I also started a toy company. And we made accessories for G.I. Joe, an amazing story. And so a lot of these good companies came out of that.
Very cool. That's excellent. That's a great thing to recognize, right? You really focused on, hey, I really love starting companies, right?
Yes.
And I love not the corporate, big company working and having to get to all the corporate politics, but really helping and building something. Is that a fair summary, Tom?
Yes, absolutely. Because when you become an entrepreneur, and especially you are the founder, then you are the #1 employee. So naturally, you take the CEO title. So now I don't have to play any politics, but I made sure nobody else in my organization played politics, which made life very enjoyable.
I love that. It's really great. So anything else about your story before we shift, or anything else you want to add to the $7 to $7 million and becoming a Silicon Valley tech millionaire?
Well, an area which I totally neglected was I did not put money anything other than technology. So I totally missed, I don't know where I was when they were teaching that in my schools. I didn't diversify my risk. So I didn't go into real estate. Except I was lucky enough to buy a house in Atherton, California, which many of us know how house appreciates. So recently I sold it to $7.5 million and got out of Silicon Valley.
God, that's a good thing. Like, things to learn along the way. So you didn't diversify as much as you thought. Looking back, you should have bought some more real estate, especially that you're right there in Atherton, right? And
Yes.
so to buy a few more pieces of real estate, that's one advice that you would take: buy more real estate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just got lucky. That was a pure luck. I wasn't planning to be there. I just got lucky. I bought a house in Atherton because my kids were going to some schools close by, and that's where I went.
Which is actually where we met, right, Tom? I mean,
Yes.
So you maybe want to tell a little bit of that story about potentially using the deferred sales trust, and then the conclusion of that.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I would say definitely I was lucky to run into Brett because I was trying to sell the house, and I knew that my investment was only like $1.5 million. And now I got a big capital gains coming through. So I did a lot of research, and I came across DST, Deferred Sales Trust, and Brett was behind that. And what I really admire about Brett is he took all his time in educating me, and I realized that he was not trying to flip a deal within 3 months and make a commission. He was developing a long-term relationship with me. And when I had difficulty in selling my house, he even tried to get me some good real estate agents. He was talking to them and get them to sell my house. So that's how I came across Brett early in the game.
Yeah, and you ended up not using. Appreciate that, Tom. And you ended up not using the deferred sales trust, part because you had a loss, right? A carry forward loss from a previous deal.
Yes.
And although your house was selling for $7.5 million and basis was about $1.5 million,
yes,
it's about a $6 million gain. And by the way, for the state of California, above and beyond the 121 exclusion, it's about a 33% tax. So it was substantial. It was millions of dollars of tax. However, because Tom had a loss from previous year, and we've talked to the CPA, he's able to wash that out in the same year and still basically sell the house and have next to no tax, which means he doesn't need the deferred sales trust. So that is kind of the full story there. And now Tom is working, and we're connected. We're strategically aligned to help people understand what the deferred sales trust is and the different options. But Tom, you want to add anything else to that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I didn't even care about that I had the losses or not. I was so fascinated by DST. I was even getting upset with Brett. Brett was telling me, "Oh, I don't think this is worth for you." And I say, why you don't want to have me as your client? Why you telling me to go away? Because I was fascinated by the program, because I didn't look at that as a solution for my primary sale of my primary residence. I'm telling, hey, I may be doing cryptocurrency. I may be doing something else. This is a great program to have. And I wanted to do that. But then when I brought in my CPA, because Brett suggested, why don't I bring my CPA? And CPA looked at it, and later on a separate call, he called and told me, hey, you're lucky you're with a guy who's telling you the truth, but if he tells that unless you got more than $1 million worth of thing, it's not worth it, because your short-term capital gains loss and long-term capital gains loss, you really don't need that. And so I think you should listen to both of us. And that's how I decided not to do DST for my purpose. However, I was fascinated by the program, and I have a lot of my friends who are in Silicon Valley going through this who don't have the losses. So I decided to join company with Brett's company, and I sometimes go with him for seminars, and I still try to get a lot of clients for him, and I continue to do that because I really like this particular program. It's done very well. It's structured well. It has been scrubbed through attorneys, so I can tell you many, many things about it.
I love it, Tom. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if the tax flow and the cash flow doesn't make sense, then it's not a winner for you. But it was a winner for everything else, except you have to carry forward loss to offset it. And by the way, if you're curious, the Deferred Sales Trust works for primary homes, businesses, commercial real estate, stock, public or private, cryptocurrency, commercial real estate. It works for just about any highly appreciated asset, as long as it has $1 million net proceeds and $1 million gain. You can learn more about that by going to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. It's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com.